Hello guys, this is Joseph. Happy new month. This is the end of the year, so I'm excited to bring up this tutorial as promised. I want to pay my debt before the end of the year. Alright, so in the previous tutorial we talked about UV unwrapping. We've been looking at UV unwrapping, and I said in my last tutorial that I was going to talk about how to do a real project with the UV unwrapping, how you can unwrap your model and take it for texturing. And this is what this tutorial is about. And I'm not going to go through the process of unwrapping this because I've already talked about that. So if you want to know how to unwrap, you can just check the top corner for tutorials on how to do a UV unwrap. But for this tutorial, we're going to be looking at how to take this to Photoshop and texture and have stuff like this. So I was checking up some model online, and I came across this. By the way, this tutorial is not sponsored by any company whatsoever. I just felt I should use this because it's kind of close to my name, my channel's name, Joe Concept. So I was looking for things to talk about when texturing. So I saw this model, and I looked it up, and I felt this is a nice model. So this is what we're going to be looking at, how to do this texturing and all that. So I have, this is their model, you have the package, and if you scroll through, I have some texture, some images to show. So you have this, so it's just an electric cooker and all that. So just that's from what I could get from it. So, but that's not the purpose of this. The purpose of this is how we can texture that package. So we already have this model. So I'll go over to Cinema 4D. So I've made the model and package. So this is what we have. This is just a very simple and basic thing. You can see that I have my floor, just a plane that I added a bend deformer to. Then I have the main package here, the main product. Then I have the pack, which I'm going to be unwrapping. So just pretty much the same way you unwrap this, so the same way you unwrap anything. So let's just get into this and start unwrapping this. So I'm done unwrapping actually. I just want to show you some things you need to do before you can take it to Photoshop and texture. All right. So I'm going to select this package. So this is the package that I want to take over for texturing. Then and by the way, I showed you, for you to see the unwrap, the UV of the object, hold down your shift and double click. So just for you to see that I've already unwrapped that, you can see that I've unwrapped this model. So if I go to my face mode, select this face, this is selected here. So you already see all those things. If I select the other face, that is selected. And this is just to let you know that I have all these things, all this package unwrapped, and everything is good and ready to go. But right now we can only do little with this. We can't really do much with it. So that is what we want to look at. So I'll get back to this camera. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is to select this package, copy it, and I usually do that when I have a lot going on in the scene. I always copy out my what I want to work on into a new scene and do my texturing there, then bring it back here. So I'm going to copy this, create a new scene, use Control Command N to create a new scene, then Control Command V to paste this here. So I have this model here, and we can start working on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this material. I won't start from scratch, so I'm going to delete this material and also delete from here, so it doesn't have any material set. So I will change my layout from startup to BP edit, and that is what we have here. So now the purpose for this is for me to start texturing this and painting on this. I can do that here in Cinema 4D, fine, but I'm limited to a lot of things. So that is why most artists tends to unwrap their model in the 3D program and take the UV to Photoshop and similar softwares and packages to texture them. So that is the purpose of this tutorial, to do that. So now, for us to do that, we are going to be layering up some things here, which we cannot do right now. The reason why we can't do that because we haven't added the material for that. So we need to add the material on this object for us to layer up and start working. So the material I can add will be done under the material section here. So if I click on the material, notice I don't have anything. So if I double click somewhere here, it creates a material for me. Then I can just drag this material over to this object, and that is added. So that's the first step. Now I can name this material. I can just double click here. So call this package. So pack. So this is more like the name of the material. I can already see the name shown here. So notice, and once you have that, the next thing you also want to have is that for us to start painting. So you use your brush tool to paint. So if I go to my brush tool, notice it's telling me, it's giving me a no go sign, and the reason why it's telling me why I'm having the sign is because I need to specify. So, Cinema 4D is having to think, what am I going to paint over? What channel do I want to paint on? So we need to tell Cinema 4D that, okay, the paint that I want to do should be on, is it color channel? Is it on displacement channel? Is it on luminance channel? I hope you understand that. So for us to do that, what we need to do is first off activate the material. Once you have the material activated, it's still not active for us to paint. We can't paint. So once you have it activated, it comes to this section here, double click, then this comes up. So this is where you can now specify what you want to do and the color that you want to be the base. So you can give this a name. So it's telling you that this is going to be color channel that is going to be painted on the color channel, and this you can also specify the size of your material. So the size would determine how the resolution of the texture. So I usually go with 2K, but it can also go up 4K. So once you say 4K, you know what that means. That means you are having more higher resolution for that. So then you can also choose resolution. But for print, you would want to go for 300. But this is, we're not printing this, so I think this is just overboard. And mind you, the resolution value also determines the size of your file. So I will just go to 150. Then what base color do I want to have for this material? What base color? So this is where you can have a base color on the material. So if you look at this, so what I want is I want to have a base color of this white so that I can just paint over it. So I'm going to go to this color, click here and choose white color for me to have a base. So I don't want to go 100% white, so I can just say maybe 95% white, then okay, and that's what I'm doing. So as soon as I click on OK, it's going to paint that. Notice I now have that white color over that. Now I can now start painting. You can see that the brush is now here. So for me to start painting, and also notice that the layer stack is now up for me to work on, so I can start adding up layer just like Photoshop and start painting. So what I want to do here is, so I already have my white color and everything is, if you look at the base, this part is white, so under here will also be white. It's only this part that will be orange. Okay, so we already have our base color. So what I want to do now is to start setting this thing up for me to know where the front is going to be and the back is going to be. If you look at this part, I purposely had this just for me to know where the back and the front is going to be. So we look at the model here. This section here is what I try to replicate there. This section that I have here. So this is more like the back section of the park, and this is the front. So I want to be able to specify that here. So that means this is the back, right? So I need to paint here to let, so that when I'm going to Photoshop, I can know where the back, the front, and all this. So I'm going to create a new layer by clicking here, and this is the layer. Then for me to start painting, first off, I need to pick a color. So I'll come to this color swatch, choose a color. Now, if I paint now, I won't see what I'm painting because the default color is white. Painting white over white doesn't really make sense. So I'm going to choose a very dark color that I can see. So this is red. Then I can also set the size of the brush here and the hardness. So I said this is the back. So B for back. So I can just see. So as I paint on this, you can also see it paints here. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I know that by the time I take it to Photoshop, I know where I will now be able to get where the back, the front, and all that is. So I know that this is the front here. So I'm going to use F for front. So this is the front. So that means these are the two sides, right? Okay. So we have this side, which is going to be this place here. Sorry, here. So just more like just side one and side two. So if you look at them, they actually look alike. So you can just come back here and say this is S1 for side one that is displayed there. So I know that this is going to be the side two. I can also paint here S2, so you can see that. So this is more like the top, and the top is going to be orange, right? So see for top, and that is it here. So that means definitely this is the base. BS. Sorry, I'm using mouse. So BS means the base, the bottom. So we now have another polygon which we are not really seeing now. Now the polygon is when you unpack that, there's a polygon somewhere here. This part. That is what that is. So we are not going to see that anyway, so we can just leave that. So what we need here are all these things that you have here. Okay, so having done that, the next thing you also want to do is now, just like in Photoshop, you can either reduce or increase the opacity of a particular layer. So if I bring this down, I don't see anything. Bring it up. The same thing with the background. If I bring this down, it becomes transparent and all that. So that's the good thing with this. So what I'm going to do is to create a new layer. So this layer, what I want to now, if I take this to Photoshop, I won't see this line, these UV maps. I won't see them, and it will be hard for us to texture on, for us to know where this ends. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our polygon mode, texture UV polygon mode, then Control A to select all polygons. So once all of them is selected, make sure the color you have. So maybe we could just make this red and black color. So we have a different variation of color. Then come to the brush size and increase the size even much more. And the hardness, I want it to be that hard, something like this. Okay, so maybe this. So you don't want it to be too much also, so that you don't overshoot into that. So let's say something like this. Then we want to go back to our polygon. Make sure all the polygons are selected, not this, I mean UV polygon. Once you have all of them selected, you come to your layer section and you come down to this place and go to select, click on the select, then you're going to see, if I'm correct, okay, sorry, you go to your layer section, then you have your outline polygon. All right, outline polygon. So what will happen is that it's going to paint this over the polygon, and that is what you're going to have. So make sure you have a layer created so that you don't put it over a different layer, over the same layer rather. So I have this layer created, so I can just even name this outline. Then this, double click here, this is going to be the tags. Then I have the background. So I want to have the outline selected. Make sure all the polygons are selected. You come to the layer stack here, click on outline polygon, and it's going to outline that. So notice if I bring this transparency down, you notice, so if I go to this object mode, you notice you have that black line. That is what this outline is doing. So if I hide the outline, you can't see anything. So this is why I said we want to have that outline. Because if I'm to bring this texture over and save this is how it's going to go, like this. So you won't see the outline, even though UV mesh is showing us the UV. So that's why I have that. So once you have all these things set, then you want to take this to save it out as Photoshop file and save. So for us to save this out, just come here, File, Save Texture As, then you make it a PSD file, and OK. So you can tell you where you want to save it. So it remembers the name, so we want to save it on a desktop. Have that save. So that is pretty much what you need to do for you to go and texture. So once you're done with this, the next thing is for us to go over to Photoshop and paint this out. So I'll go to Photoshop and bring this. I know it's my desktop, so it's packed. So this is what I just saved out. So just drag this over to Photoshop, and then you should have this loaded. Alright, so this is what we have. So you can already see what we painted. See all the layers we have. We have the background, we have the tags, and we have the outline. So that is why UV unwrapping is so important, and you can bring it over to Photoshop and paint over. So we know that this is going to be the orange color. So what I'm going to do is I will try as much as to bring this over for me to sample. So I'm going to do a window, hold down my window command for the window user, so I don't know for Mac, sorry, window and right arrow to bring this over here. Then it tells me which other package I want to bring to the left, so I want this Photoshop. So the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to be able to sample this. So I'll select this, increase this over here. Then I'm going to create a new layer here in Photoshop. That is what I'm going to use for. So create a new layer. So this is going to be my color swatch. So once I have this layer selected, I can go to rectangle tool. So just come to one of these sections where you don't have anything. Create a rectangle. Then come to this color. Just use this eyedropper. Pick a color here. Or you could just, okay, so I remember I had this problem also. Yeah, that's true. I remember I couldn't sample out of Photoshop. So what I did was to just take this package and drag it over to Photoshop, and that will be added here. So once I have that package dragged here, I can just sample from here. Alright, so I can zoom into this place, then sample any of the shade of orange. So I think I like this shade. Then that is recorded in the memory, so we can select this. So create a new layer and create a rectangle. So now that we have this sample, so we'll go to our bucket tool, our paint bucket tool, then just paint over that rectangular selection. We have that. Ctrl D to deselect. So I'm going to do another thing. The same thing I'm going to, I think that is pretty much it. Honestly, that is pretty much. So I want this shade of orange. So how I texture this is, how you texture this is just to look at the model and look at where you want to have your orange get to and all that. So if you look at this, somewhere here, so maybe I want the orange to get here. Alright, then so what I will do also is to also still create a new layer. So I'll just drag this off. So create a new layer, I can bring the layer down somewhere here. So once you select this layer, you could even bring it below. So once you select the layer that you have created, so you use your rectangular tool to select. So you could also make use of your grid view, show your ruler. You can just map out where you want to have this layer set. So maybe somewhere here, and yeah. So this can help you with where you want to So what I want is I want the orange to end somewhere here. Okay, so I could also still zoom in, hold down Alt and roll your wheel and drag this here. Okay, so that I can snap to that. So if I use my rectangular selection, I can click and drag and go across up to this place. Okay, so I have a problem here. I can notice I'm cutting through. So what I will do is to use my move tool and move this up a little bit so that it just overlap a little bit. So reselect, Ctrl D to deselect and reselect this. And it doesn't really matter if it goes beyond these lines. This part of this object is not is not on the model. So once you have this part selected, then you use your brush tool again, click, that is added. All right, so you have that section. So this becomes the white section of it. So remember, this is the inner part, so we don't really have anything to do with this. So what we can just do is just deselect also, then create another rectangular selection here. So just paint this row. So maybe up to this place. Then the shortcut is G, actually, paintbrush tool. So that is Ctrl D to deselect. Okay, so you can just get rid of this ruler. So that's how you do that part. So let's look at bringing in all these logos and all that. So this pretty much, they're more like tests that you can add, so you have your text too. So I'm not going to go through all this. So for these ones, what I did was to download some of these logos and put. So if you look at my assets scene, see I have this logo that I downloaded, I have this, I have that, I have this part. So we could just bring this three, drag it over here, and that will be dragged, enter, 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 enter. So we can just start bringing them and placing them where they are supposed to be placed. If you look at this, you have this. All right, so these are just more like text. So we can just use this auto select for it to automatically select stuff. So this is this and this is that. So I can just Ctrl T to scale. So if I press Ctrl T, it takes me to scale mode, then I can just scale this down. Move. Scale down, press enter. So if I hold down Alt and zoom in, you know, this App Store and this, they are at the back section, which is this place. So that means I have to bring this over to this place here. Then I'll do the same thing for Ctrl Z and select the barcode. Can just work with this Ctrl T to scale this down, and you might need to zoom in, press enter, and bring this over to where it should be. Hold down spacebar to pan to have that. Then for this also, you can also drag this out, Ctrl T to scale this down. And the good thing with this is that since it's white over white, so you have this, so you can just bring this. So this is where you'll be making use of your guide to align things. So you want this to be aligned here and here, so you can bring this over here. So Ctrl T to scale, then you can just scale this until it aligns. Alright, so I think that makes sense. So do that. Then this one, maybe you want to scale this up also. Also, you need to check your reference all the time and continue working. So then for the other sign here, you can just bring this up. Alright, you can see we already have a problem here because the white color we chose wasn't 100% white. So we chose, remember, chose 95%. So that's why I have that. So that is how you do all those things. I also have I created an Illustrator file of this part of this model. So that's what I did just drag this over to this place, and this file comes, then can be here. So I think it's here in the front. I can just scale this up. So you have that. So you can continue. So once you are done texturing all these things, you want to get rid of all these tags that you created in Cinema 4D. So I'm going to get rid of this tag, so we don't have that. And also this line, we don't need this line, this outline, because if you go with the outline will also show. So we just need it as guide. So once you remove that, then you have this. This is what you are taking to Cinema 4D. And don't mind this, since these things don't fall on any of these UV maps, UV unwrap, so all these polygons, then it won't show. You understand? So I also have created a final product of that. So I'm going to open that final product that I created. So it's here. So this is completed package. So I'm going to drag this here. So this is my completed package. I'm just going to show you what I've done. Alright, so sorry for that. So we have this. This is the completed package that I've done. So we can just bring this up, and we don't limit all this. Or you could just view, show, and hide all the grid. So you can see all the things I've done here. Just try as much as to download some icons and place them. So this is what I'm going to say. So once you are done, you just click on your file, save texture as. Alright, so if you click on save texture as and tells you where you want to save it, you can also save it as Photoshop file. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to save it and override that. So just save. I want to override it. Let's override. And the good thing for Cinema 4D also reads Photoshop's file, so you don't have to be image file. Even if you save as image file, it still works. So if you go over to Cinema 4D, what we now need to do is paint this over. So we can just click and go back to our start. So we have this package that looks so rough. So let's try and see whether we can bring this over. So if you open the package file, notice all we painted, this is it. So we've already created a different file, alright, which we call package completed. So we need to load up that PFP file. So click here, takes you to where you have that. I know we have had pictures and UV texture, so this is it. Click and no, and that is what we have. If you check that now, see your package. Now it looks so rough. The reason why it looks this rough is because we need to code the editor and change this to, remember we use 4K, so you can just use 4K, and that shows that even well in the editor. So this is how you run your package. And the good thing with this is that so far you have unwrapped that and you've textured that whatever plugin you use. So if you're using Corona, Redshift, whatsoever plugin you try using, if you bring in a texture, it will. So if I go back to, so we've already done that. If I go back to that file that we have, then this I'm using Corona to render that. So I can just open the Corona material, then load that texture that we created. So here, completed, and go to the preview and make sure the preview is 4K, so it's already there. So we have that. So let's quickly do a test render and see what we have. So if I bring this over here a little bit and just click on my Corona Interactive and try and do a test render. So I'm going to see my package come up, and I've already created the scene, so I have all my lights set up and everything. So you see the model that I just created and the package that I have. So this is interactive, so I can go out of the camera. That shows I can zoom in. Sorry about that. So you have this. So this is how you can texture your product and take it over to Photoshop and texture and bring it back for rendering. And that's pretty much it. So If you feel this was helpful, please give me a thumbs up and like. And also, if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe to my channel because it helps me to do even more. And once more, I want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. So do have a wonderful day and God bless you. Bye.